Hello.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Yeah, hi, Ritvik. Yeah. Hi, Ritvik. Good evening. I'm Prateek and I'm calling from Gspann.
Yes.
I think you already had a first level of discussion with one of my team member, correct?
Yes.
So this is a follow-up discussion on that lines, Ritvik. So
Yes.
yeah, so Ritvik, so before we get started, right, I think I want to give a brief overview about what exactly we are looking at, okay?
Yes.
So what expectation from this role, okay?
Hmm.
So we are looking at someone who has good experience on, you know, any cloud technology like AWS is what we are looking at. Someone who has experience on Kubernetes, Jenkins, Ansible, CI/CD
Hmm.
tools, right?
Okay.
I think that's something similar. That is what we're actually looking at.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me something about yourself, like what you've been doing, what are your interests, what you want to work on, right? And from there, get started.
Okay. So in my previous company, I was working with MDocs on the payroll of Civic Software Private Limited, where my task was to create the resources for the production environment. So basically, my project required me to migrate the applications from on-prem to cloud. So my client was AT&T. So they had 7,000 applications, of which 4,000 were supposed to be migrated to cloud. So the contract was distributed between five companies. So one was Amdocs, one was Accenture, one was Microsoft, IBM, and other. So for creation of resources, I used Terraform, and there were 8 to 9 steps, and there were five environments. One was DevOps prod, non-prod, POC environment, non-prod, and POC, I mean prod. So my task was as a platform engineer was to do the IDO onboarding of the applications and according to the target architecture, which was discussed in the Scrum meetings with application team. Deploy all the resources for the production environment, and then the respective people continued from at that point. Like a database administrator used to create the databases, and the server administrators used to do the further configurations, etc. etc. So other project was a BSSC project in which developers used to push their code in the Nexus. So the code which was pushed to the Nexus was pulled in the Bitbucket, and in the morning time we had a meeting with the QE team. So they proposed some changes, whatever were required, and we used to do the changes in the Bitbucket, and then used to push the code, and used to trigger the pipelines using Jenkins. And if any error there was coming, so we used to fix that error. Before that,
Okay.
I was working with KMG. So after I joined KMG, so initially my role was on-prem network engineer and on-prem server, but slowly and steadily cloud was introduced there. But that was not into that in depth, and also I was supposed to be a deployment deportation engineer for the clients. So one was Hughes, MB, and other clients. So whatever their requirements were, my task was to go there and check the do the feasibility checks and do the installation, and wherever I could contribute as per my understanding. So these kind of things I have done till now.
Okay. So tell me, right, Ritik, so if I ask you, what are your top three strong competencies? What it would be like? Tell me top three areas where you are very much strong at.
I mean, in AWS uh, and
Okay.
in AWS Azure, I have intermediate knowledge, and basically cloud migrations and Terraform, and third one would be, I mean, so can you tell me certain tools, like one is Terraform and AWS I have told you.
So
Yeah.
you have to tell me, right? Because that is what you
Okay.
are strong,
Okay.
correct?
Okay. So we keep it Jenkins and Docker intermediate.
Okay, very nice. So,
Hmm.
AWS and Azure you are comfortable with, and Terraform, and then Jenkins and Docker, correct?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. So we'll concentrate only on these tools. Okay. So, do you have any certifications on AWS?
Right now, I don't have any certifications. So basically, I was preparing for the certifications in AWS back in KMG, but in Amdocs they were using Azure Cloud, so I started studying Azure. So
Okay,
due to that reason, I have not been able to do the certification.
no problem. That's fine. So tell me, AWS, right? Okay. So tell me, I have an EC2 instance. Okay,
Hmm.
I have an EC2 instance, and I want my EC2 instance wants to access S3 bucket.
Mhm.
Okay. So what do I need to do?
You need to mount S3 to the EC2 instance using it.
Mount. Okay.
Mounting means I mean it is possible to mount the S3 to the EC2, and other than that we can use Route 53 to pull the S3 bucket, and we can also use the uh, AWS CLI.
No, but can EC2 instance directly access S3 bucket even if you put it on Route 53 or in anywhere? Can EC2 instance by default access S3 bucket?
No, no, no.
What do we need to do for that?
We need to basically sync S3 to the EC2 instance using AWS CLI.
I think no. See, resources in AWS are isolated. By default, one resource cannot talk to other resource.
Mhm.
There is something that you need to do. Only then they will be accessible. Meaning EC2 instance cannot access S3 bucket directly.
Okay, but right now I am unable to recollect.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. So, okay, that is okay. So, can you tell me about IAM roles? What is IAM role?
So if the IAM roles are the roles, if you want to give a particular access to a particular user which is sitting on a different account, so for that we use IAM roles. So back in Amdocs, I had for Azure Access application team had created a role and given me the access.
Okay. So, tell me, do you have any experience on auto scaling, implemented auto scaling groups and all?
Yes, manually I have done step up scaling and the metric was CPU.
Okay. So, CPU utilization. So, when the CPU utilization happens, like what is the criteria in CPU utilization?
CPU utilization is the percentage of the CPU which is being utilized. There are various steps like 50 to 60%, 60 to 70%. So in that way, the step up scaling works. And if the load goes exceeds above a certain point, so new EC2 instances are created.
Okay, fine, fair enough. So, tell me, this is fine. Uh, in when an auto scaling happens, right, it creates a new instance, correct?
Mhm.
So where will it create the new instance? How will it get the information about what is the instance type? Where will it
So
get the
so we
information?
have a launch configuration for that thing. So
Oh,
in launch configuration, we tell first of all we have to create the launch configuration and then we have to do the auto scaling. So
oh,
from there it will come to know.
fair enough. Tell me if I have to log in. I have to log into an EC2 instance, but you know, I lost my PEM file, right? I lost my PEM file. So, is there any way how I can log into my EC2 instance? Is there any way how I can recover a PEM file?
So PEM file is not recoverable. So we have to do one thing. We have to create the new EC2 instance, and the
Mhm.
volume we have to detach from that particular instance, and the independent volume has to be attached to the EC2 instances which has lost the PEM file. So after that, uh, the EC2 instance which has lost its PEM file, it has two volume. So from we have to follow the certain path which I don't remember correctly as of now. I mean the whole path. So we have to follow the particular path and copy the that file to that volume, and then we have to detach the volume and attach back to the new EC2 instance, and the PEM file which we created for the new EC2 instance, that PEM file will be used to log into that EC2 instance.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Can you tell me? Give me a minute. What you worked in Terraform also, correct? So
Yes.
Terraform also. Okay, in Terraform, can you tell me like um, what happens when you do Terraform init in the backend?
So
When you do Terraform,
so in the Terraform init command, the Terraform is initialized and all the plugins and all the dependencies are installed at the backend. So let us suppose that we are using AWS as a provider. So if we do the Terraform init, so all the plugins and the agents will install at the backend.
okay. So do you know what is a remote state in Terraform?
State is something which is the current situation of the Terraform, but current state.
Remote state,
Okay, okay, okay.
remote state.
Remote state, though I have not heard this term.
Okay, so when you have, do you know what is a state file in Terraform?
Yes, state file are the status files, whatever is happening. So those files are stored in. If I talk about the Azure, so those are stored in blob containers, and if we are using AWS, so we those are stored in S3.
Okay, okay, got it. So, so that's fine. Can you tell me how do you execute or how do you execute a shell script from Terraform code?
Shell script from Terraform code.
Correct, correct.
Recently, I have not done shell scripting, and using Terraform I have not done. But we have after writing Terraform, sorry, shell scripting, we have to do the execute permission using chmod plus x, and then .sh is the extension. Recently, I have not done that.
Okay, okay, no problem. That's fine. Okay, so what else? So, do you know something about remote exit, local exit provisioners in Terraform? Local exit and remote exit provisioner in Terraform.
Local,
Exec, EXEC.
no, I am hearing this term for the first time.
No problem. That's fine. So, okay. So, local exec, remote exec. That's fine. So, uh, okay, okay. Now, tell me, you have used Jenkins, right? So,
Mhm.
Jenkins, what type of job configuration did you write? Is it like a pipeline job, or is it like a freestyle job, or what type of pipeline was it?
So the pipeline job will be written in the Groovy language and in the freestyle project. I mean both.
Okay, so so can you tell me, like, if I want to do a Git checkout, right? If I want to do a Git checkout, how do you do a Git checkout in inside the Jenkins file?
No, no. Git I this I didn't have not done. Git checkout I have not done.
Okay, so do you know? I mean, how do we um, access an environment? See, you have something like build with parameters, right? Like where you can give some parameters to your Jenkins jobs, correct?
Mhm.
So how do you access those parameters inside a Jenkins file?
No, no.
Okay, so it's okay, yeah, no problem. It's using $env. Uh, okay, that's fine.
Oh, you were asking for the environment variables.
No, not
Okay.
environment variable. It's the argument, right? For your job, if it needs some user inputs, right? Then you build it as a build with parameters, right? Where you'll ask some inputs from user. When he clicks on build, how do you access those variables inside my Jenkins file, correct? Because
Okay.
you need to access those variables, right? Only then you can do some computation, correct?
Okay, got it.
So that is what was my question. Okay, no problem. So Jenkins, what was your role? Can you elaborate? Like, what is your role on Jenkins? Like, what were you doing on Jenkins?
So if I talk about the Jenkins, so the code was present in the Bitbucket and that was connected to the Jenkins. So after doing the changes in the Bitbucket and after committing, I used to trigger the jobs manually. So the configurations, I mean Jenkins and all that stuff was in place already. My task was only to trigger the Jenkins file, and if any error is coming, so we had to rectify that error and tell that situation in the Scrum team, Scrum meeting. Sorry. And other than
Oh,
that, I the back in KMG we had Jenkins, so we used to take the skeleton basic skeleton code for the Groovy, and then uh, I had created basically the whole team has created the code which included like build, test, deploy, and all those stages, and then I mean make the file and deliver it to the respective person who had asked it.
Okay, no problem. So, okay, in Docker, what was your role? Like, what kind of application that you were trying to deploy? Like, what was your role on Docker?
So in the Docker, basically the initially my role was to basically the install Docker, and because I started as a junior DevOps engineer, and then I used to do the basic containerization for certain applications which had the front end and the back end. So all that stuff and running. So basically working knowledge of Docker I have.
Okay, okay. So, how do you mount a Docker volume, like host path, right? If you have a volume in your worker node, how do you mount that inside the container in Docker?
So if you want to create a volume, so that is the Docker volume create, and we have two types of volume. One is bind mount, another is uh, I mean Docker volume -v, and then we have to map the paths. In that way, we mount the volumes.
Okay, okay,
One is bind mount, in which the volume is mounted, and the other one is we map to a particular directory.
okay, sure. Okay, no problem. That's fine. That's fine. So, you also have worked on some monitoring tools. Like, how do you do monitoring of your applications?
So in Amdocs, I was using Azure Monitor and Insights. So the problem basically that those people were not doing the monitoring that much rigorously because the application was still in under the migration. So I had faced one issue that the insights were not working. So we had to there is an upgrade option in the VM. So we have to upgrade the instances, and after 10 minutes, the insights used to show up. In AWS, I have used CloudWatch, the CloudWatch which is already present there, which gives the metrics after 5 minutes. And apart from that, if I talk about the Nagios, so I was a part of the installation and the deployment back in KMG. So Nagios is of two types, one is Nagios Core and one is Nagios XI. And if I talk about the Prometheus, so it is a pull-based monitoring tool and gives us the basic metrics, and we have to run certain queries. So that is known as the Prometheus query language. And if we want to reach GUI environment, so for that we can pull those be it Nagios or Prometheus in that Grafana using data source.
Okay,
So
sure.
recently in back for the last 1 year while in Amdocs I have been using Insights only, and all
Okay,
the for the client deployments as a deportation engineer used to do the feasibility checks for the server deployments for monitoring tools, and then the respective teams there continued with their work.
okay, got it. And do you have any experience on any automation scripting? Like, you have done anything of that sort? Automation scripting,
But
like using shell scripting or anything?
not recently. I have a basic idea, but like shell scripting, I had told you already. But recently, I have not done that. So basically, in Amdocs, my core task was only to migrate the application. So I am still going through all those things again.
Okay, okay. So migration was one of your major activity.
Yes.
Okay, okay, got it. No problem. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I'm good from my side, Ritvik. I think I covered everything that I wanted to ask as part of this discussion. So,
Yes.
do you
Yes.
have any questions for me? Anything that you want to ask me?
So I was trying to convey that your environment is slightly different. Like in Jenkins, the questions I mean you asked me. So those area I have not covered yet, but I will try to go
Sure,
through.
sure. No,
Uh, okay.
sure, sure. I think I'm good from my side. But only one question, right? So, you have left your current organization right now?
Yes, actually, what happened was there were 4,000 applications which were to be migrated, and the timeline for that was 2024. but the migrations for 1000 applications got completed within 1 year only. So
Hmm.
on 11th of Jan, my vendor company asked me that your project is complete, so we cannot continue further. So that was the thing. So basically, I was a third party resource there,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
my vendor company was Survik Software Private Limited, and job location was Pune. So Amdocs is main headquarters is in Pune only.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So you're currently based out of which location? Like
I
me.
I have already worked with the HR, so I reside in Dwarka, and this job is particularly for Gurgaon, so very nearby to me as of now.
Okay. Okay. So okay. Got it. Sure. Yeah. I think I'm good from my side, Ritvik. I think I'm good. I'll give my feedback to HR and we'll come back to the next steps. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.